Folks, welcome into SportsBookReview.com. It's time to talk some Major League Baseball. It is Wednesday. We've got some afternoon action to actually watch here and get after. I need a bounce-back night last night because my New York Mets team total went up in flames. Garrett Rich, hey, maybe he's a Cy Young favorite. I don't know. But that was a disgusting performance for me in my play of the day, dropping me to 10-5. But as we said, a lot of information. The best 30 minutes in Major League Baseball starts now. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Kyle Provines, along with Jason Radowitz and Chelsea Messenger. Let's have some fun. Kyle, how did your night go? Mine wasn't fun. I had no fun last night, so you're
I had zero fun. It was Bizarro World. None of the numbers added up. Everything was backwards. It didn't work out. And then I got to pile on the shanks at the golf course. I'm very frustrated, fired up today. Probably look 10 years older. We've got the Modelo out. Cheers. Luckily, we've got Chelsea with us today, so we can add another brand, get some pitching ideas here, get us back on track. I'm excited for today, and thank you to everyone for joining us in the chat box, of course.
All righty, Jason, stepping up. Maybe you could take a bat, head out to Flushing Meadows here and see if the Mets can actually get a base hit, because Garrett Richards was throwing one pitch, a breaking ball that bounced on the plate, and they swung every time. Pete Alonso, hey, maybe a 1 or 2 year wonder here. I'm joking, but I hope I'm not joking, Pete Alonso. I don't want him to be good being a Phillies fan, Jason. Go ahead.
Yeah, as Jack said in the chat, he said dogs were barking yesterday, 8 and 7 straight up with 2 plus 200 or greater dogs cashing. So that tells you all you need to know about yesterday. The last 2 days on the show have been tough for me, but I do have the Twins in the first 5 innings today, starting off the day. So far, currently up 7-1 in the 4th inning. So hoping the day starts off nicely with this one.
Yeah, talking about yesterday, I was angry at the Mets. Jason's favorite team is the Mets, but somebody out here was hunting some Red Sox plus money numbers. Chelsea, correct?
Yeah, the Red Sox were my dog of the day yesterday, and it was a bit of a sweat till the end. I wasn't sure if I could trust Matt Barnes as a closer for the Red Sox, but what do you know? The Red Sox won as plus money dogs there, and the reasoning behind it just because they're still the number 1 offense in baseball. I know it was a 2-1 ball game, but I think sometimes you've got to take a chance with those underdogs, especially the Red Sox, who are now 7-1 on the road. So we'll be looking at a few more underdogs today, and I can't wait to break down today's slate.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. I guess the Mets need, 1 run today with DeGrom on the mound? So an offensive explosion expected for the Mets today. Some live games that are currently taking place right now. And in the chat that we have usually before the show, eyeing up that Twins number, whether it's Twins money line, whether it's Twins first 5 or Twins just hitting and covering their team total. They got out quick in this baseball game. And as we see it right now, 7-1 Minnesota. Live total in this game, 13.5. And yes, you do have a football number here, -6.5 for the Minnesota Twins. Any bites here for you, Kyle, in this game?
It's a little bit tough. Maybe you wait for Cleveland to not score for a few more innings and wait for that total to get to 1.5 or 2, and you take a stab at that. But overall, when a game's 7-1 like this, you almost just kind of pack it in, sit back, and let her rip. The only thing I would consider is waiting for that Cleveland line to come way down the what we call around here the Donnie right side, right? Because that's the strategy of Donnie right side. Just wait for that number to get as low as possible, and then jump on it when the bullpen gets around. That might be the only thing I would do with this game.
Yeah, yesterday looking at that Oakland A's team total down with Tampa Bay in the Dome. You know the runs are hard to come by. 3.5 -145 in that game if you started out. Obviously, you saw the final score. They only ended up with 3, but 2.5s and 2s were available late in that game. I actually picked up a 3 plus 100, and thank goodness for a solo shot in the 9th inning, at least to get me out of that, because I had a really bad taste in my mouth from that Mets game. Jason, looking at this game between the Twins and Indians, sitting on that number 7-1 is a nice way to go. Any pressing down, because Cleveland's only got 2 hits right now. They're doing nothing.
Yeah, this looks like a game where maybe the Twins might just have an offensive explosion, going deep into the bullpen of the Indians. And I know that they've been good recently, but you're going to go to those bullpen guys that really haven't produced, and the guys that they're trying to get some work in, the guys that you put in during a blowout game. So, I expect more runs out of the Twins, and like Kyle said, you could wait for the Indians to score, no runs in the next couple of innings, and look at getting maybe 1 more run from the Indians in the game. Those are definitely some solid looks for this game.
Looks like a teaser type situation for football. 6.5. Are we going to lay the 6.5 with the Twins here, Chelsea?
I wouldn't touch this game with a 10-foot pole, but I think the only way to go maybe is an over. I don't know. I definitely don't love this one, but can we talk for a minute about Byron Buxton? Goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. He already has 3 hits today, a home run. He's hitting .419. His OPS, I think, is 1,300. And the best thing about Byron Buxton isn't even his hitting. He's one of the best defensive players in the game. And if you've ever seen him run the bases, my goodness, he gets around the base paths really quickly. So definitely a hot player to keep on your radar. Tied for first in the majors in home runs right now with 8. So the Twins and the Bomba squad appear to be back, not touching this game.
Yeah, leaders in the all-time record with home runs a couple years ago. And the best part about Byron Buxton, Chelsea, is I am a team total over guy and an over backer. When I saw him in the lineup, it meant 2 things. He's going to steal 2 runs, and he's going to strike out 3 times with the bases loaded. And now what a shift for his offensive performance, where now he can actually be a positive instead of a net negative every single game. So good luck on that one. Second game here on TV, because we're talking about a YouTube game here with the Twins and the Indians. Watching live here on TV now, the Brewers and the Miami Marlins 2-0 here in the bottom of the 3rd inning, but it looks like a runner on first base with 1 out. Quickly here, thoughts on this game. Any jumping into it, Kyle, as we look? -1.5, -135 for the Marlins here, -290 on the money line.
I mean, I think there's a little value on Miami. And, we've talked all year and before the year, like, look at the talent, look at this bullpen for Milwaukee. Bottom line is that hasn't come to fruition. They haven't been all of that good. I think, what's their ERA? Sitting at 4.57. They're in the bottom 10 of the major leagues to start the year. So for how good this bullpen was supposed to be, they certainly haven't lived up to the billing. So if I'm getting a -1.5, and I know, we're in the 3rd, 4th inning here as we go in, and that bullpen's going to have to come in, and Alcantara seems to have this lineup under control right now. I do know that Bradley just hit a single or whatever, so they have a guy on first, but maybe a little sprinkle on Miami. That's about as far as I'd go with that. Or again, let's do the Donnie Wright side. Let Milwaukee go scoreless till the 6th, 7th inning. Take that over half a run or 1.5, and see what happps.
Not a bad time to jump in now, because you do have a guy on first base. We're only talking the bottom of the 3rd inning, so nobody's out. So relatively 2 at bats, a long way to go in this game. 2.5 -122 for the Brewers as a team total right now with a guy on first. Seems kind of cheap here, Kyle or Jason. Any thoughts on this one?
Well, if you look at the Brewers lineup, they have looks like 6 lefties in the lineup against the righty Alcantara. So yeah, I guess there's a little value there. The Brewers, they should be able to score some runs. He hasn't been the best recently. Strikeouts are a little bit higher, but still allows a couple runs per game. So yeah, I think there's a good look for the Brewers for sure. Got a lot of lefties in the lineup that can definitely, they've done well against righties this season so far. So there's a chance that you get some runs out of the Brewers.
Chelsea, low over-under in this one at 7, and Alcantara dealing early, but maybe a 1 base hit here can change the tone in this game, because we're looking at a cheap number, 2.5 here on the Milwaukee Brewers as a live team total. If we're looking from the opposite side here with the Marlins, 4.5 +100. Any bites on this game?
My only lean would be to the under 7.5, because usually Sandy Alcantara is one of those guys that can go 7 innings. He's one of the better starters for the Marlins, especially this matchup against the Brewers, a team that, it seems like almost a death sentence when they're down 2-0, just because the way this offense plays. And plus, I'm not sure why Zach Godley keeps getting chances. He wasn't good with the Diamondbacks. No. I'm not sure why he's getting a chance here. But you probably won't see the best relievers coming out of the pen for Milwaukee, I would imagine, if they're down. Probably some guys coming in and mop-up duty. But I just don't see a whole lot of runs coming from both of these offenses. My only lean would be the under 7.5.
Yeah, now 2 outs. So a promising maybe start to an inning with the guy on first base and nobody out turns into 2 outs with a man on second base. So we'll see what happens here with Alcantara on the mound and move forward. If something updates there, we'll certainly get back to it. But let's get into today's card. The 3 highlighted games that we have, 9:27, 9:28, Boston and the New York Mets. Pivetta is going to be on the mound, and I know him well being in Philadelphia versus Jacob deGrom. Hard to step in front of deGrom. I don't care if it's a team. We were looking at team totals last week where I believe it was the Nationals, whoever it was. The team total was 1.5. deGrom had 6 shutout innings, and it dropped to 1. Like, it was 1. So you only lost a half of a run despite having 6 full shutout innings. It's amazing what deGrom's doing here. Heavy favorite on the mound, as usual, -245s to -250s, over-under of 7. But the question is here, Kyle, are the Mets going to be able to hit? Because maybe deGrom goes 8 innings and doesn't give up a run, and, oh, yeah, it's 0-0 heading into the 9th.
Yeah, and DeGrom has been a monster. He's 13,000 on FanDuel. I don't think I've ever seen that from a Major League Baseball player. I've seen it with James Harden and a couple of NBA players before. That's a massive number, and if you look at the points, It justified 67, 70, and 82. And you mentioned Pivetta. Pavetta's an absolute can on the mound. I can't think of anything worse to say. Oh, I know Pivetta very well. That's like saying I know gonorrhea very well. Yeah, you got to take a big pill. It's not good. From what I've heard, I don't know that firsthand knowledge. Just from what I've heard, that is the case. But no, this should be the Mets today. The problem is you're not getting a whole lot of value. Even first five, you're looking at minus 0.5 at minus 180, minus 185. So there's not a ton of value on the Mets. If I'm going to take the Mets, I'm going to take that team total, and we've talked about it. Their lineup has been, look, the whole NFC National League East has been terrible. Every lineup is straight garbage right now. The only team with a plus run differential is the Miami Marlins, for Christ's sake. It's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. But you have Pivetta on the mound, who's an easy fade. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hitters with an advantage here. I don't mind a little home run prop on Dom Smith. You get a nice number there. He's already homered off Pivetta before, 4 of 9 lifetime. We have nice advantages here. So for me, of course, it's the Mets. It's the Mets first 5. You're just not getting a great number. I'm looking at a team total here of over 4 at minus 115. Does it make me nervous? Of course it does. Look, we're talking about a sport in baseball where success is measured on failing the least. It's the only thing in the world where hitting being successful 30% of the time, you're considered good. Imagine if you're an NFL quarterback and you complete 30% of your passes, the only time you're getting seen is in your jersey in a framed case right there behind my boy Donnie. That's the only way you're getting seen. Baseball is a game of failure. Succeeding is still failing in baseball, but the Mets should get it done today. I like that team total over 4 at minus 115.
There you go. And Jason, I hope you talk about 90% less than Kyle just did so we can actually get through 2 games today, as we like to have fun here on the show and keep it moving as quick as possible. Your Mets today, monster favorite. Which way are we looking, if any?
Yeah, like you said, the Mets have played Pivetta in the past because he was a Philly, and they've had good numbers against him. Of course, they haven't had good numbers all year, but you do expect the Mets to be able to get some runs against Pivetta. And with DeGrom on the mound, of course, the Mets are going to be big favorites, and they should win this game. I like the team total over for the Mets, but obviously there's some pain in there if you're going for it, and Donnie saw that last night. So
this Mets team should be raking. When it coming in and trying to cap the beginning of the season, looking at the NL East, the Mets by far 1 through 8 were clearly the best team in the NL East. They just haven't lived up to it, Chelsea. Are we looking tonight maybe another dog out of the Red Sox, or you say, you know what, it's DeGrom, I'm out?
How do you go against Jacob DeGrom? I see these people that are fading his strikeout props every single week, and they keep taking L's because just based on a value play, you'd think at some point he's going to slow down, but he doesn't. This is the guy that struck out the entire Rockies lineup in order. 9 straight strikeouts. I've never seen anything like it. He's just so dominant. Obviously, no value on playing the Mets here because obviously they can still lose. I'd look at an under 7. It's a really low number, but if Jacob DeGrom can go long in this inning, long in this game, and plus, like I mentioned, the Red Sox bullpen has not been half bad. They're top 10 in the majors with a 3.21 ERA. Barnes has actually done a decent job at closing. So let's take the under 7 in that one.
There you go. So we'll move on here. It is hard to go against Jacob DeGrom. The Mets, sooner or later, we think they're going to wake up, but Major League Baseball right now through 30 days, lowest batting average of all time, and it's not a surprise with what we're watching out here each and every night. 9-17, 9-18, Oakland and Tampa Bay. Cole Irvin, another guy who was in Philadelphia for a cup of coffee and spilled it all over the place, which is why he's no longer with the Philadelphia Phillies. I don't believe he can get outs, but the problem is when you go down to Tropicana Field, not a lot of balls are flying out of there, but I do think Tampa Bay hits tonight. Kyle, we'll start with you first in this one. Oakland and Tampa Bay, minus 160 to minus 170, total 7.5 in this one.
Yeah, and you're right. It's like, not a lot of balls fly out, but I mean, look at Tampa Bay. Look at the runs scored and the runs allowed. Massive numbers. They've scored 107 runs. You wouldn't really think of that as you think about Tampa Bay, that they're one of these teams, putting up runs. Like if I told you that, that Tampa Bay has 13 more runs scored through the first 25 games than the Padres before the season, you would have told me I'm crazy, wouldn't you? I think you would have. Today, it's slight advantage for Tampa Bay. I do think this is a nerfie. Everyone loves those nerfies. You could certainly get that here. I love Glasnow. Glasnow, whatever. I always mess up those names. And Alcantara. Every time you say Alcantara, I want to jump in and say up, down, left, right, BA, select, start. Anyways.
There you go. Contra.
Yeah.
We know
Absolutely here. But I have a slight lean here to Tampa Bay. I do like them in the first 5 innings. You can get a minus 0.5 here at minus 135. Just like Glasnow a little bit more than Irvin. A few Tampa Bay bats I like in DFS today. I love my boy Lau, because Low left. I love my boy Brandon Lau. I'm trying to get that right every week. Arena, I probably screwed that up.
That's good. We'll take it.
He looks pretty good, and Adams looks good as well. So slight lean to Tampa Bay here, and I take him in the first 5. I like Glasnow as well in FanDuel and DraftKings.
Jason, I actually like this lineup that Oakland's going to put out today. I also like Oakland's lineup they put out yesterday, weren't able to hit, but Glasnow, a very good pitcher here on the mound, xFIP around 3 on the season. Does Oakland get it right tonight, or is this just another Tampa Bay game? Because I don't trust Cole Irvin. So if we're going to be saying, hey, I need Cole Irvin 6 innings in this one, I don't know if he can go that long. I think Tampa Bay picks up some runs early here. What's your thoughts on this game?
So if you look at Cole Irvin, he's really struggled versus lefties more than righties as a lefty pitcher.
Correct.
Who knows if that continues? But then you're looking at Meadows, Lau, you're looking at Wendell. So all these guys have pretty much struggled against lefties this season. So maybe Irvin has a good game, maybe he's sneaky, maybe he gets rocked. We don't really know too much about him yet. Of course, hasn't pitched that often, but yeah, he struggled against lefties more than righties as a lefty pitcher. And obviously, the Oakland batters, during their win streak, they did a lot better against right-handed pitchers. But then again, they're going against Glasnow. Makes it a lot harder to score against Glasnow there. So this is a hard one. I do think we get under 4.5 in the first 5. I would lean towards the Rays, but I wouldn't be surprised if Oakland finishes in the first 5 as well. So I guess under 4.5 would be the best bet if I had to choose for this game.
Yeah, it's expensive. You're looking at 157 opening up to 164. Some of the New Jersey numbers at 172 as a favorite for the Tampa Rays. Chelsea, what are we looking at here? Oakland Athletics, Tampa Bay Rays. What gives in this one?
Man, I do not love anything about this game because the Rays are minus 167. And you know what? Glasnow is probably not going to pitch the entire game. After I said that, he probably is. But usually he's a guy that goes 5 or 6 innings and he strikes out so many guys that his pitch count usually goes up. And that's why he doesn't go deep in games. And obviously, last season, he gave up some home runs. He was big favorite. The Rays would be big favorites in some of his games, and he would end up giving up the long ball, and they would lose. And then you look at this Rays bullpen, who normally you think Rays bullpen, you think lights out, but they actually haven't been that good this season. A 4.42 ERA, good for 21st in the league. So I'm not sure about Cole Irvin here. But maybe sprinkle a little bit on the A's here. They were hot, over this last 15, 20 games. But I think my better play would be on the under 7.5 at minus 124.
Moving it over to the Philadelphia Phillies and the St. Louis Cardinals. Been hot out there in St. Louis. And yeah, the Phillies bats, they're not hot. And we told you about that if you're coming to the show. Two-run explosion on Monday, 2-run explosion on Tuesday against 2 very average pitchers. Now you get Oviedo on the mound today. Looks like he'll probably shut down this meaningless Philadelphia Phillies lineup, which looks like McCutchen, congratulations, going to return to the lineup tonight and lead off and be an automatic out. Might as well bat the pitcher first as opposed to Andrew McCutchen. Starting off with you here first, Kyle, in this game. It's Vince Velasquez on the mound. It's straight up auto fade going against it because if you are the Phillies, you need 5 to 6 runs to compete. That's not going to happen tonight. They're going to lose.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a full fade of Vince Velasquez. He's absolutely god-awful. And I'll be honest, I don't know a ton about Oviedo. I'm going to defer to Jason and Chelsea to fill me in. But yeah, again, it could be the crap my dog took this morning in the front yard, and I would take him over Vince Velasquez. I mean, bottom line, that's just how it goes. And then I'm looking at a first 5 money line for the Cardinals here at minus 105. I think that makes a ton of sense. I expect him to come out. I expect him to hit off Velasquez. We've got people asking about home run props here. Well, you could easily see Paul Goldschmidt or Nolan Arenado take this guy deep tonight. He's absolutely terrible. I have 5 Cardinals in my DFS player pool. I like Cardinals first 5. I like that money line too. You don't even have to take the minus 0.5. Just take the money line at minus 105. And if for some crazy reason Velasquez doesn't allow a run the first 5 and the Phillies, of course, with their 1 competent hitter don't score, maybe 2. I guess you can consider JT Realmuto a competent hitter. If it's 0-0, you just get a push here. But I'll take the Cardinals money line first 5 at -105.
Here's the interesting split here, Jason. You're looking at the right-handed batters, which Vince Velasquez has faced 20 of them. They've raked him. 522 weighted on base average, 467 as an ISO power number. But here's where the rubber meets the road. Vince Velasquez striking out 33% of the batters he's faced. Look at this lineup today versus righties. Carlson, 27%. Goldschmidt, 26%. DeYoung, 30%. O'Neill, 40%. Williams, 40%. There's a lot of strikeouts in this lineup. If Vince Velasquez can do his normal 4 innings, 85 pitches, he still might be able to get 6 to 7 strikeouts against this Cardinals lineup, but I can't trust him as far as I can throw him. I don't trust the Philadelphia Phillies in this spot tonight. What are you looking at?
So neither of these pitchers have really been able to get wins with their ball clubs. Oviedo hasn't won a game with the Cardinals as well. Obviously, he's a lot younger, and he started, I think, 5 games last year. Went 0-3 in those games, but he's a talented pitcher. He's a young pitcher. There's some potential there, more than Velasquez, for example. And Velasquez, his batting average of balls in play, 374, allowing 1.5 home runs per 9 and 5.57 walks per 9. So yeah, he might get strikeouts, but he's also going to put some guys on base. And of course, there's a lot of righties in that lineup that can definitely hit home runs and bring a couple runs home. I know he allowed 2 home runs in the last game versus the Rockies, and that's just what he does. And, like Kyle said, Goldschmidt, Arenado, a bunch of the righties have could be able to, smack a couple home runs and get on base, especially with some walks as well. So, yeah, I think I agree with the Cardinals here. This one's really tough. Both pitchers really haven't won with their ball clubs, so this might come down to bullpens at the end of the day.
Bad weather out there, too. Rain all game long. So from a Phillies perspective, I hope the game actually does get rained out, just like when they played the Mets and DeGrom was set to start. Just get out of town. You're not going to win this game. Hopefully Vince Velasquez is no longer in the starting lineup, because if you are a Phillies fan, you watch this broadcast, they'll open up with a montage from 2016. Hey, Vince Velasquez struck out 16 guys in 2016. Then he gets rocked in this game, Chelsea. This game is a pick-em, -110 either side. Who are we looking at in this game?
Yeah, I don't like this game at all. And I will say about Vince Velasquez, I believe he came up with the Astros, because I remember him from the Astro system and coming up with my husband. He's a bit younger, but he does have good stuff. At some point, I think he'll have a game where he is back to his normal self. The thing is, you need to be good and consistently good in baseball, to be a good starter. Replacing Matt Moore, too. I mean, it's not like Matt Moore, is posting Cy Young numbers. But yeah, getting back to this game, I don't love anything of it, and sometimes the best bet is not to make one. So that's my play.
Right.
And I would agree with that. And that 2015 trade was for Ken Giles, the Phillies' young closer at that time. We got a steal in Velasquez. Yeah, the only thing was stolen away was victories from the Phillies.
We don't let Jason do that, however. You can say that, Chelsea. Jason is not allowed to say he's not going to make a bet. By the way, hit the thumbs up button. What the hell? Sorry to cut in here. What the hell's going on out there? 33 thumbs up. Give us a thumb up. Let's go.
Thumbs up, because we're ready to go and give out some best bets and bankers. Right. Since I went first yesterday and took a loss, I'm going to go last today, maybe change up the mojo. So, Kyle, go ahead with some best bets and bankers. What are you looking at today?
Do you see what he did there, people? He wants to put the bad mojo onto his boy right here. I see. I love that. What I do. Absolutely. That's what we do around here. I mean, that is what we do around here. So let's talk about this. So a couple games we haven't talked about. I love the Braves' first 5. There's 2+ money spots here where I think you're getting value. Braves first 5 at +110. I like Anoa a little bit more than Hendricks. When you look at this Braves lineup, the projected lineup lifetime against Hendricks, 27 of 73, a 370 average. His last 3 starts, a 0, a 19, and a -3 versus this Atlanta lineup. And I have got a ton of Braves home run prop to Ronald Acuna. I think he goes yard tonight. Freeman, 78%. Heredia 19%, Albies 50%. The advantages go up and down the board for the Atlanta Braves tonight. I love the Braves first 5 +110. And another plus money spot in the first 5. I like the Angels tonight. I think they score some runs tonight. I think they get some hits. I think that Cobb has the slight advantage over Dunning here. When I look at the Angels lineup, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hitters with 30% advantages or better in terms of weighted OPS over the last 3 years. So I think the Angels' first 5 at also +110 makes a lot of sense. I know Jason's going to talk about the White Sox, so I won't pound on that too much, but just know that I agree with everything that Jason's going to say, and I'll take a Nerfy in that A's Tampa Bay game.
Best bets on the card, Jason, for you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I already have the Twins in the first 5 innings, and it's in the 5th inning now with 1 out. So we'll see how that goes. Outside that, though, I'm on the White Sox, as Kyle said, minus 0.5. In the first 5, it's Carlos Rodon versus Casey Mize. And I've gone against Mize a couple times now this year, and it continues to work. He's struggled versus lefties this season. But really, both sides of the plate. Lefties have a weighted OBA of 434 with an ISO of 344. Righties have a weighted OBA of 332 and an ISO of 184. There are 5 lefties in the lineup for the Sox. I know a bunch are switch hitters, but that's enough for me to like the White Sox to score some runs versus Mize, who has a high SIERA of 4.91, and he's allowing 2.2 home runs per 9 innings. I think he allowed a bunch of home runs in his last 2 starts, and that really killed him. And his pitch count also getting pretty high. And if he's able to come out in the 4th inning or whatever, you get that bullpen. And, of course, that bullpen has not been too good. Also, the White Sox are scoring the most runs in the first 5 so far this season. So you got the White Sox there. They've been really hot starting games, and the Tigers really have not been, especially against lefties, where they've really struggled this year. And Rodon he's a lefty number 1. Number 2, he's been terrific all season long. 5 hits through 3 starts, obviously 1 no-hitter. The pitch count getting kind of high in 2 of the 3 games. Of course, not the no-hitter, but the other 2 were just 5 innings. So that's why we're going to cut it to 5 innings and just let Rodon go to work, and his pitch count will get kind of high, but he'll end up with a lot of strikeouts, and he'll do well. So we're going White Sox minus 0.5 in the first 5. It's the banker. It's the play of the day for me.
Yep.
There you go. Chelsea, you are up next. Are we heading out to the desert for maybe an upset spot, or what do you got going on tonight?
Yeah, this is my dog of the day, and It's a little risky, but I'm taking the Diamondbacks at plus 140. Don't look now, but the Diamondbacks are the hottest team in baseball, winning 7 of their past 8 games. Coming off that 5-1 win over the Padres yesterday, they're over 500, believe it or not. And over the last 7 days, they're number 1 in the league in OPS, top 5 in home runs and average, bottom 5 in strikeouts. And over the last 2 weeks, if you think 1 week is just, a hoax, they're 3rd in OPS. So they're hitting well. Number 1 team against lefties. And you've got Weathers on the mound for the Padres. So this is a good spot, I think, for the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks number 1 on-base percentage, slugging, and OPS against lefties. And I know Weathers has pitched really well, especially impressively against the Dodgers. But the Dodgers, for some reason or another, don't hit lefties well this season. So I think it's a bit of a small sample size, and I'm not sure if the Padres should be minus 170 in this situation. Taylor Widener has been really good for the Diamondbacks. I know he's due for probably some regression just because his FIP is a full 2 points higher than his ERA, but he did go 6 scoreless last time out against the Padres. So I will take the Diamondbacks plus 140.
I like it. A lot of good looks here on the card today. I did have a couple games circled here. Minnesota, obviously, I thought their team total would be good. Tampa Bay's team total, I'm digging that. Atlanta, St. Louis, the Chicago White Sox, I agree with Jason on when they should hit. Houston should also hit tonight, but I'm going to also go back to the desert. And Chelsea brings up some very astute points here. Arizona is a live dog in this game, even from a team total perspective. You're getting them cheap tonight. 3.5 minus 120. They line up really well. Keep in mind, Weathers a young guy going on the road against a team that does do damage in this short season against left-handed pitching. I think that's valid. I'm actually going to flip it over to the other side. I think the San Diego Padres do come to play tonight. Whether or not they win the game, I don't care. As long as they can get me a couple runs in this game, meaning 5 or more, I'm going to be able to cash in on my play of the day. So I'm going to go with the San Diego Padres. Widener right. Ex-FIP in this early season, 5.35. Not a big strikeout guy. You're looking at a team with the San Diego Padres that does get a lot of walks. The roof should be open out there. Let that heat and humidity in the desert. I think we get some runs in this one. So Chelsea obviously liking Arizona. I think they can hit. I think San Diego hits. Probably correlates into an over as well. But I'm going to stick with the Padres. Now, it is expensive for a reason. 4.5 minus 140. That's what I'm going to go with my best bet and banker. Let's get around Major League Baseball for some other looks. Kyle, quickly for yourself, any games popping out to you where maybe a dog shot, maybe a long shot? What are you looking at here?
Yeah, I'm looking at a couple underdog spots here today. I love underdogs in baseball, obviously, and I know Mike Minor's been pretty good for Kansas City, and I love myself some Royals, but for some reason, and we talk about it where you can't really come in here with your feelings and not the numbers, but I do think the Pirates have a sneaky shot tonight to pull out an underdog spot. Of course, it's not an official play, but I do have a little bit on that. And the Seattle Mariners, too, sitting here at plus 180. I kind of like that lineup against righties. I think the Mariners have a chance as well. They've overperformed this year. So there's just a couple of spots that I'm looking at. And I know people love the home run prop. So I'll just give a list of players that I put in a home run watch list in my player pool today. It's just a free thing that I normally charge for. We'll do it today. Schwarber, lefty on lefty. He loves lefties. Aguilar, Stanton, Muncy, Alonso, Cruz, Acuna, and Mike Trout. That's my home run list for tonight.
Jason, quickly, I'm going to ask you about a game here. We faded Fetty, Washington and Toronto down in Tampa Bay. Runs in this game one again, or can you trust Washington, or is just Toronto runaway with Springer back in the lineup tonight?
Yeah, I like Toronto. I think that they have they obviously looked really good, and Steven Matz on the mound, who's looked fantastic so far. It's great to see as a Mets fan. I'm happy to see
no, you're not.
do well. I'm very happy. He was a great guy, and just happy that he's performing again. But yeah, I like the Blue Jays here. Fetty, obviously, not the greatest pitcher. Its FIP is really high, and ERA is really high. And yeah, I mean, look, walking 4.05 batters, striking out just 6.21. The Blue Jays should be able to score here, especially with that lineup. It seems to be heating up a little bit.
Yeah, when the Phillies get rid of a player, I hope he's DFA'd within 3 weeks so I can say, that's what you get and deserve. Chelsea, any other games on the card that you're looking at here tonight?
Yeah, just to kind of look at that Nats Blue Jays game one more time. I had the under in the game yesterday and looked like a complete idiot just because my line of thinking was, you know what, the only hitter hot in that lineup is Vladdy Jr. And what does he do? He hits 3 home runs and has 7 RBIs, hitting 360 this season. So I don't think I'll be taking it under in that one. I think I will be looking at an over in that one just because the Nats are hitting 304 against lefties with an 8.46 OPS. Steven Matz is 4-0, but like I said, this team, excuse me, I lost my spot. Anyways, yeah, I think the overs look worth a look there. If you can get any kind of production out of the rest of the lineup and the Blue Jays, and if the Nats, look a little bit better and they continue hitting lefties, I think the over is worth a look there. But the other play I really like is the Braves team total. I think it's over 4.5 for plus money against the Cubs. This Braves lineup is really heating up. Acuna's been good all season long, but they've been waiting for their other hitters to get hot, and I think now is the time. They've had at least 5 runs in both their games since that dreaded no-hitter, if you want to call it a no-hitter. Whatever you want to put on it, an asterisk against Madison Bumgarner. It looks like their lineup's finally back. I'll take the Braves for plus money, especially since Kyle Hendricks gave up 7 runs last time out against the Braves.
Should be a good card, so we will clear the bases and get out of here today. A nice action-packed show, 32 minutes. And you know what happens on SBR now? We transition right from Major League Baseball over to the NFL Draft coming up in about an hour. So thank you guys for joining us today. 85,400 people now have subscribed to the networks here on YouTube with sportsbookreview.com. Turn those notification bells on whenever we go live in any sport that we have. You get it delivered directly to your inbox. For Donnie Seymour, Kyle Provines, Jason Radowitz, and Chelsea Messenger, this was your Major League Baseball show for Wednesday. We'll do it again on Thursday, 2:30 p.m. See you then.